Okay, Micah part 4. Now this got interesting when I did clean it up here. I mean, I looked through a lot of this and it needed cleaning up. So I want to go over the cleaning up of the cleaning up. The prophecy from YHVH, and then we don't know it's from Jerusalem, okay, because it's a 2-verse. I did make it as Jesus, but then it became a 2-part. These did not hook together, and I know that that was mentioned before. Now when it comes to this text, which is the prophecy, so this might go someplace else except for this. This might be the title here, or the first title. Maybe have to put this above that, the other words. Don't know yet. That's probably going to be in video 5, the final cleanup. I needed to add these words here because in that day it didn't seem to be right. And so when I decided to put in, there will be a day, because talking about the future, he's prophesizing. And I didn't know if that would be him speaking or not, because it could also be that if I use the very beginning, we have to have who the prophecy come through. And then he would start out, there would be a day declares, YHVH, that he is speaking. But the thing here is the word day would be what he's speaking about. And then when I went through here, I changed the word go out to leave, needed the word your, and changed the word cities. Removed third person, speaking in first person, needed to add the word from. And enemies, they were only one if he's now sending out Babylon. Now this was a 4-verse group. I had it like this. Now muster yourself and troops, they have laid siege against you. I guess I should have changed that to you. With a rod they will smite, Israel's on the cheek. Well, see, that doesn't make sense to say it like that. It does make sense to say it like this. They will, with a rod, they will smite, and then we don't need these. Okay? Smite means to kill, not strike. Then they will strike Israel. See, so, but if they will kill Judah, that's the purpose of why he's sending them. So I took that text and said that's out, and I haven't removed it below yet. The word for needs to be added here to make it read from here to here. Took out the E and added going forth is from long ago. No, I also needed the word but here, and then I added the in to make this word then, and then got rid of time until the time it was written, until then. But I will give them up until then. I will give, yeah, because he's talking about the future them. Don't need the word a, don't need the word the, needs to be my name, speaking in third, or not third person, but first person. But this verse does sound odd, so I'm just going to sit there and admit it. I don't know what I want to do with that yet. With this text, it becomes from 3-verse to 4-verse, so there has to be this division here. Change nations to kingdom, because it's not about individual nations that he's coming down to. He's coming down to the kingdom. So the word kingdom will be here. Now, this is how the text looks like when it's cleaned, except for this one. I'm going to remove all this right now and add this word here. And then this is how the text will look when it's cleaned up. Okay, now comes to the video, this video, and the editing done here. Hear now what YV is saying. Hear now what YV has said, okay? And I'm just gonna, I'll clean the text up later. I just want to be able to do this and not do too much extra editing here, too many buttons. YV has said, arise, plead your case before the mountains. Okay, well, mountains don't hear, and they don't, there is no such thing as mountains, okay? Now, hear now what YV has said, and let the hills hear my voice. I arise, and I will let the hills hear my voice. So it's pretty much, here's how he's talking, okay? And he's going to say what our Creator said, but he's going to start his text first. Listen, well, this is, mountains are, there's no such, you don't talk to mountains. Listen to the charges from, oops, I can't look and type. I'm still one finger hunt and peck type of person here after all these years. And this would be like that. Listen to the charge from YV. Could be charges. This you don't need here. YV has a case against his people. Okay, now when I broke it down like this, okay, and you could see that I could make it a verse. Watch what happens here as I go down here, because you're going to see a lot of this. With Israel, he has a dispute. My people, what have I done to you? How have I worried you? Answer me. See, the writing style dictates that I need to just chop these up. It doesn't, because look, hear now what YV has said. Arise, let the hills hear my voice. Listen, and then it could be to the charge from, listen to the charges from YV. Listen to the charge from YV. YV has a case against his people. With Israel, he has a dispute. With Israelis, he has a dispute. YV has a case against his people. This would be Jesus's people, because we know that the text has been talking about Jesus from time to time, and we know that this is who they're supposed to be waiting for the last, ever since David's time. With Israel's, he will dispute. And now what he's going to do is he's going to dispute right now, okay? My people, what have I done to you? Okay. How have I worried you? Answer me. Now, when I was looking at this text, this verse here and this verse here could be put together as one verse, okay? So, I don't know. Now it becomes weird, because these verses are all awfully long. And when it says, I brought you up from the land of Egypt, you don't need the word up. I brought you from the land of Egypt and ransomed you from the house of slavery. So if I do this and this, what is the word ransomed? Well, not ransomed. He didn't pay him anything except for plagues. So he redeemed them from the house of his, or the house was there. I brought you from the land of Egypt, for I redeemed you from the house of slavery, from the house of slavery, from the kingdom of slavery. From the word house is wrong here. Some of the word house this needs to be changed, okay? But then this becomes a group of 4, and then we back up. That becomes a group of 4. Now we have that becomes a group of 4. And then we have this becoming a group of 4, and then we don't. Okay? So we have verses missing, okay? And that would be who is saying this. All right? Micah the prophet from this area, from Judah. Anyways, now you see that going on, and then all of a sudden I'm working with, I sent before you Moses and Aaron and Miriam. Well, actually, Miriam didn't do much, and it was Moses who was his judge, okay, and Aaron who became his first priest. She has nothing to do with guiding the people truthfully. So Moses and Aaron. Now there is a quick story of who Aaron is and why is Aaron involved. That's because Moses could not speak Hebrew, okay? He was raised in an Egyptian home. They ain't going to teach him the slaves language, okay? He was trying to raise him as his or her son, okay? So Moses did not speak Egyptian. But Aaron, why did our Creator send him? And the question, and what makes this sense is that who would be allowed to be able to walk up to the Pharaoh's palace and say, I'm here, I need to speak to him, and he's going to let him right in? Well, this means that he has to be able to speak both languages because he's the intermediary for the king of Egypt. So he would be allowed to be done this, and he would know how to speak both languages. Okay, Moses, he's being sent by our Creator. He will be able to speak very fluently, so there would be no problem that the king would understand that he knows how to speak it naturally. When you don't learn a language very well, you have that not the original word language. You have to put your slang into it to know that, okay, you're from our neighborhood type of thing. Now, the text now changes because that's why I have the space. My people, remember now what Balak, the king of Moab, counseled. Now, he was counseled by Balaam. I don't need this because we know that if you know Balaam. Answered him, and he answered him from 2 places, okay? And it wasn't from here, it was by here, okay? So, and what I was getting to, and by, so now you know where these cities are. They're somewhere over in Moab's area, okay? Now, let me see if I can get a map to, yes, this one here. I was a little bit prepared. Okay, now, this is Moab's area over here, okay? Let me see, I gotta see if I'm out. Yeah, I'm out. I'm out here. Okay, this is Moab, okay? And this is where they came up here because they went around Edom, but they needed water from time to time to travel, and people needed to have a replenishment of water. This is why my path goes to the water. They were here, but they used rivers as a boundary. Okay, so here they've got to be able to see how many people are coming through here. Now what I don't have is the word mounts here, so I just want you to remember these rivers right now, because what I'm going to do is see, can I use that one? Well, that one you'll be looking at other things. Let me use this one here. This has those rivers down here, okay? And that doesn't really show Edom. Let's see, how does that do? Okay, these rivers, it's over here a little bit farther, but it means this mount here, somewhere here, they could see them, and then maybe not see them all that well because of the distance. Maybe he had a way to travel over here, because see this ridge? This is also a higher point, and between two waters, yes, people would have been living there. And this would have been Edom from here all the way up to here. This is all Edom, okay? So somewhere, as they were traveling into the land, and they were going out and they were setting up, we have these locations someplace over in this area. I can't really pinpoint them. I don't have a good geographical map to say, hey, this is exactly where everything is at. But this is the story, and it wasn't what Balak, the king of Moab, was counseled, because actually Balaam, our creator, made him a prophet by speaking with him and then telling him to go tell him this. So this is a rare story of our creator using another person to speak for him when he goes. Very rare. I don't know of anybody else in the text that does this. But if he was from a good man from Edom and was living in their territory, then I'm always thinking that our creator is always speaking through Abraham's descendants, okay? But the problem is, in order that you know the righteous acts of YV, and this is speaking to this, and it would be that he would know the righteous acts YV is to perform for them, okay? So this needs a lot of cleanup, okay? And then we come to, let me put that all in yellow to get back to, and this is not needed at all. With what will I come to YV? Now see, this text is, if he's speaking as, well, let's see, this would be the group. And my people, now remember now, because he's guiding them here, and then he also sent this guy here to speak for him here again. So this needs a little cleanup, but the object is that they work pretty, this doesn't really work well, but it could. And then this here works as a foregroup to keep saying that this could be our creator speaking. But when it comes down here, oops, this would be the next one here. But when it comes to here, with what will I come to YV and bow myself before the Creator of on high? We don't need on high, but will I come to him with burnt offerings, with yearling? Well, you don't. The priest does this, so the writer doesn't understand that that doesn't happen. But will I come to him with a yearling calf? And it's calf. It's not. And if it's a yearling calf, it's a lamb. So the word is really lamb. And that means like a calf, because they are rams. And why rams? Because male seed is visible and they aren't sheep. They're I'm just trying to tell you that it's male dominated because of male seed. So if we have even in Jesus' time when they refer to Elizabeth as a son through Aaron, this is why. Okay, they would see even animals this way. So a male lamb would have been, or sheep would have been a ram, and then the lamb would have been meaning the yearly or the young, a young ram. Okay. Does YV take delight in the thousands of rams and in 10,000 oils of river? Well, this would not be there. So now we have 2 or 4 verse here. Will I present my firstborn for my rebellious acts, the fruit of my body for the sins of my soul? This is just, they don't understand. The writer does not understand the words from our Creator. So this person actually is not an Israeli who wrote this, which is very unique. And we do have a lot of texts like that that just completely is not true, so they wouldn't have known this, or an outsider would have been trying to write this. He has told man what is good and what YB requires of us: to do justice, to love and have kindness for others, and to walk humbly with your Creator. So it's almost like these two hook together better than these two, because I think these will start going together. The voice of YV will call to our city, and it will sound and it has the sound of wisdom to fear his name. Hear, tribes who has appointed at this time, that there is a wicked man in our house. Oh, see, this doesn't. I'm trying to edit. I'm not saying the words, trying to read the words. I'm trying to put it as he would say it, because there's a lot of times when man is wicked in our house. Hear, tribe who has appointed this time, and it would be he has appointed this time, and that would have been because. Okay, hear me, tribes. Hear me, you tribes, because he'd be finger wagging at them. And that who, we know who. He, okay, why he's using his name, let me use it. YV has appointed this time, has appointed its time. I guess that would be okay because he's talking about the time that that all this coming up will be in existence when it happens. Has appointed for this time. That's what I would put in here as well. So this needs to be re-looked at if I end up keeping the text. This is there yet a man in a wicked house, along with treasures of wickedness? Is there yet man? It would be, is there yet good man? And I'm saying male or female, but the text is dictating that it's the house. So a male is in control of the house. So is there yet a good male? In your wicked houses, in a wicked house? Is there a good male in a wicked house? This, I'm just going to make it homes, home, in the wicked homes. And is there yet a good male in a wicked home? Is there a good male in a wicked home? And then this, don't need. Is there a good male in a wicked home? I guess that's a question. And then this becomes kind of odd because can I justify wicked scales in a bag of deceptive weights? So that means this one is out to keep the two verse. So one, it would be like Sodom and Gomorrah when Abraham was asking him, if you find whatever, 5, 10, or started with 50, I think, and work down to 5. So this here is there a righteous male that would be righteous? Because we have been using, or I've been using the word righteous as one who obeys our Creator. A good man, that's, or a good male, or good man, male and female. Is there yet righteous? Is there yet righteous, a righteous male? Yeah, is there, it's almost like I don't need the word yet. Is there, no, is there yet a male, righteous male in a wicked home? No, this, don't need that word. Is there a righteous male in a wicked home? Can I justify wicked scales? Can I justify scales in a bag of deceptive weight? Wicked scales. Can I justify their wicked scales? Can I justify their wicked scales and their and their bag of deceptive weights? Question mark. For the rich men in your cities. For the rich men in your cities are full of violence, are full of deception. Because he's deceptive weights. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Let's see, deception. I think I'm missing one letter here. Nope. Are full of deceptions. Your aliens are speaking lies and their tongue is full of deceitfulness. Don't need the words in their mouth. So residents, their people speak. Now it would be your people. Because he's made the promise between him and Israelis, and I know that we're going to have corrupt people because they allowed them to come in and own land. Their people speak lies, and their tongue is deceitful, and their tongues are deceitful. Rich men in your cities are full of deception. Their people speak lies, and their tongues are deceitful. Well, I don't think he needs to make him sick. He just is going to say, I will strike you down, desolating you because of you. And this needs to actually be cut here. I'll strike you I think I'm going to use the word make here. I will make you desolate. I see it like that because of your sins, their sins. Because remember, the remnant are going to be his good people left that he saved. Now this doesn't make sense. What you will eat, but you will not be satisfied. Your violence will be in the midst, and you will try to remove. They're going to be taken away, so this can't be true. This can't be true. This is not true. But you will not okay, this is not true. Now, because of their sins, I'll make you desolate, for I will give you to the sword. Wait a second. You who will sow but not weep. Now I'm seeing that these are, could be a format. But this would be, because this is the statues of Omar. Omar is a king of from Israel at the time after I think he's after Jeroboam. Let me see. Yeah, well, he's after all here. And then this is the next guy who becomes a good king, but statutes. No, he's the guy that started Samara, the second capital. Bethel was the first capital, but the story says he bought a hill for 2 talents of gold, and then you'll find stories later that say this. But these two guys, I think, are what the text is going to talk about here. Yes. Okay. These were never... This guy was a good guy. He turned back to our Creator. The story goes is Elijah walked at that time, and remember the story where he pours water upon his offering, then he asked for our Creator to accept his offering, and then he told him to kill those prophets there because this is who really the Creator is. He just did this for us from heaven. And he comes on board and he starts to be a good guy again. So this is not really true, okay? And a king cannot assign a statute. He can command them, he can order them, but a statute, you'd be getting confused where the statute is by our Creator, so the words are not true here. Are observed and devices you live by, I'll give you up for destruction. Okay. Because of their sins, for you observed, which means they sat and meditated to have sex with a female goddess, are observed. These are what sins are. Okay, I'll make you desolate because of their sins, and their sins is to go away from him. So this here is out. You observed her and in there you didn't walk, you lived that style. You lived that way of life, meaning turned away from our Creator. You observed her, and with their devices you lived. And it's not there, it would be her. And it wouldn't be devices, it would be idols. See how we figured that one out when we actually realized what's going on. They're idols. Because they were all over the place. You observed her, and with her idols you lived. I will give you up for destruction. And your people for deserting me. Give you up for destruction. because I'll give you up for destruction. I'll give you up for destruction, for deserting me. You will, because if it's a sin, we're talking deserting. For leaving me would be, so we have a text a 12-year-old would understand. For leaving me, you will bear their reproach. I will give you up for desertion for leaving me. You bear reproach. There's not enough text here, so, but it would go. Let's see. No, I was thinking that just had a bunch of yellow, that maybe that too was hooked together. Then it's chapter 7. Woe is me, for I am like a fruit picker, a produce picker. And the grape gathers, there is not a cluster of grape to eat. This is out. Now this, let's see. That's where this text goes, down here. Take a snapshot and then come down here and look at this text. Well, as for me, I'm like a produce picker. Or the grape gatherers, or the grape gatherers with no clusters of grape, or grape gatherers having no clusters of grapes. The godly person, okay, this has to be the righteous. See, that's the difference between these words. You can't become godly at all. So, the righteous person has left the land. Has died. Because that's the way I've been using perished. So, righteous person has perished. In the land there is no upright person. In would be in your, because if this was our, I don't know if this is our creator speaking or not, so so it does sound like it and then doesn't sound like it. Okay, 15 more minutes here. Righteous person has died, and in our land there is no uprightness. There is no truth, there is no justice, but good people. Uprightness is describing people, of a type of people here. For our land, in our land there is no uprightness. All of them lie. All of them lie. And waiting for bloodshed. In a city with a lot of violence, that's what happens. All of them lie and wait for bloodshed. All of them lie and wait. This is lying. All of them lie. So it's each of them hunts the other with a net. All of them lie. Okay. And wait for bloodshed. Each of them hunts. Okay, but those tie together. These two tie together. The righteous person has died. I still couldn't make it a 4-verse, or could I? The righteous person has died from our land. There is no uprightness. Among the people, among our people. Okay, better save. I haven't done that for a while. But this turned into a 4-verse. This is a 4-verse. Trying to figure out how far back 4-verse goes. Okay, they don't hook, but we've got 4 verse. And this text is not matching this text. I guess I better put this here to let myself know when I clean it up. Wait, this is concerning evil. Each of them haunts the other within that. Concerning their evil. Evil. Us. Yeah, I'm going to leave evilness there. With both hands they do it. Concerning their evilness, with both hands they do this. Up here. Referring to what's been discussed already. Well, the princes ask the judge for a bribe. This might not be, this is not hooking together. Well, the princes ask. It's not well, it's got to be now. I was just trying to think of a better word than that. Now the prince, more than one son, so now the princes. Now the princes are wanting their judgment. For a bribe. A great man he's not a great man. These I'm gonna say this word's gone, this word, this here. Man speaks for the desires and man speaks for the desires of his heart. And man speaks for the desire of their heart. Hearts. this. These two hook together. Day when you post a watchman, your punishment will come, and their confusion will occur. Best of them is like a briar, and the upright are like a thorn. The best of them are like a briar, and most are, because they can't be upright, because we're talking about evil people, and most are like a thorn hedge. This is like, I would think this would be like a patch of thistles for your feet that you wouldn't be walking on. And it wouldn't be is, it would be are. Could mean, I'd have to look that up, I guess, see how the Hebrew is dictating that word. Most of them are like thorny hedge. The day when you post a watchman, your punishment will come. Then confusion will occur. Then confusion will occur. Then confusion will happen. Then confusion will happen. This will just be and. And they will not trust. Not trust a neighbor. Nor, this is not T, it's a nor. Nor have confidence in a friend. For sons will and this here isn't making sense. It's not being able to hook. And sons will treat their fathers with, and we definitely got to get a smaller word than that. I mean, contemptuously, like I'm sure that they had, they didn't have such language back then. Disrespectfully. I see that. With disrespect. Daughters. Will rise up against their mothers. Now, how do they rise up against their mothers? Because rise up, if they're disrespecting, then their daughters will talk back to their mothers. To put all these together is to say, talk back. And you know I'm using it as a slang to mean what I mean. To talk back, to argue. Daughters will argue with their mothers. Yeah. Will argue with their mothers. Daughter-in-laws, will be against. I think this is the end before I can. Let's see, how's the time going here? Yeah, it's 1 hour now, so I have to go on here. Daughters-in-law will be against their mother-in-laws. For man's, and then we're getting it right. The word man's here means male or female. Just when I'm in a hurry, I can't get these buttons in the right order in my head. Man's enemies will be in their own homes. I'm not saying anything different than what's being said. But that's going to be the end of this, and I will go back and I'll start from here. So this has to be video 5, or I stopped video 4. And then I will put the text here, clean it up, and we'll see what we got.